The kingdom of heaven is in your heart, said Jesus. What is the kingdom of heaven scientifically speaking? So the 7 lower heavens are represented by the 15 rays. So every color is a bandwidth of frequency, a DNA strand, and is represented by a chakra or chakra. Now we've been told through most of Eastern literature that there's only 7 chakras. That's false. There's at least 15. So we know the root chakra is red. It's a bandwidth of frequency. And so the dimensions come in what is called groups of 3. So dimension 1, 2, 3 is heaven, number 1. Dimension 4, 5, 6, which is your soul, is density number 2. 7, 8, 9, density number 3. And so 10, 11, 12 is your avatar inner Christ, or density number 4. And there is the ki ra she, which is 13th, 14th, and 15th dimension, which make up the lower 7 heavens. Now there's also what we call the upper 7 heavens, and that is the primal light and primal sound fields. So in the beginning, God said, let there be light. Sound becomes light. So there's what we call, when consciousness or source enters into this 15-dimensional time matrix, it has to come through the primal light, primal sound, primal light, and down the 15 dimensions to descend into more density of what we call the original celestial human being. And so the same way we came down is the same way we're going up. So ascension, we have to start embodying, accreting our DNA strands, embodying the soul, the oversoul, the avatar, inner Christos. So Jesus also said, in my Father's house are many mansions. So when we sleep, the consciousness leaves the body, and for most people, it's going to the lower 4th astral world. But for those who have started to embody their soul, their higher selves, their consciousness can go to a place, a space where there is no time and space, starting at a certain dimension. And then their consciousness can go to a certain place where there is no disease. There is a frequency where disease does not exist. Now, Heart Math Institute can measure 5 to 15 feet in all directions. There's a frequency radiating from the heart, carrying information. The greatest lie ever told to humanity is that we're 3rd-dimensional beings. That's false. We're multi-dimensional beings. And so when Jesus was up on the mountain and he was praying, the Bible would say he'd go up on the mountain and he would pray all night sometimes. He was literally, if you want to say, going to his Father's house of many mansions, embodying his upper stranded DNA and bringing back that frequency and embodying that frequency where disease does not exist. And then he would come down from the mountain in the morning and he would heal the entire village. Well, how would he do that? Well, he was able to go to that place where disease doesn't exist, the upper stranded DNA, and he would bring that, and the kingdom of heaven would radiate from his heart, if you want to call it, and where disease does not exist. And then he would put his right hand out. The right hand is electric, masculine, forgiving. And he would put his hand on the blind man, and he would create a quantum field and potential where the blind man can see. And he would say, Father, I thank you that you have always heard me. He practiced in accessing that place and bring that reality. And if the blind man through faith would tune into that reality, which was created through the field or the heart of Jesus, he can then, his mind would administer that reality. The mind administers the frequency, and his DNA and his body would code into that reality and quantum jump into that potential where the disease did not exist. So the kingdom of heaven, or the queendom of heaven, is in your heart. But the key to all of this is he would go to the mountain to pray. And in that space, connect with his higher self, start embodying his upper stranded DNA. And he would stay there as long as he can, so that he would become no one, nothing, nowhere, no time. When the mind is quiet, right, the heart will speak, and he would merge with everything, everywhere, all of time. And the longer he would stay there, the more his soul and oversoul frequencies would start coming down and transmuting his cells. And then the longer he stayed there, the more he could actually bring that down from the top of the mountain and embody that. And then, as it's a natural consequence, the miracle started to flow as a natural consequence of his consciousness embodying his higher self, his upper stranded DNA, that place where time does not exist, where we are all one. The kingdom of heaven is in your heart.